Okay, so we're here. We're going to kind of wrap up for the course and everything in between, right? So, first thing that we kind of should probably talk about is a little bit about what we value in our society, right? If we think about like American culture and American standards in society, right? So, we have this emphasis on where we want to make money, right? We want to have the agency in order to do that. And more often than not, we do this through work, right? Some of us are win the lottery. We don't have to learn. Some of us are born into money. We don't have to do. We don't have to work for this, for cash or anything like that. But that's clearly not everyone. Clearly not everyone, right? So we have to do that. And what we also try to promote is that even though we kind of have to work in order to, live and survive, unless you become like a mountain man or something like that, and you're living off the land of the earth or something like that. So we're making money, and we also emphasize freedom, right? And this is the kind of thing, right? When we think about freedom, right, we have agency, is what we're really trying to get at, right? So the freedom to kind of make choices about what we do, how we do it, how we do things, right? So if we focus on our ability to interact with other people, what kind of job we want to do, what time we want to work, what we actually want to do for work, how we spend our free time, our agency, right? So, those kinds of things are really kind of important. And, we think about like American society, right? These are things that are universal, that, in a perfect world, or in theory anyway, people are born with these kinds of gifts, and we have a government and a society that is supposed to do that. Now, whether or not you agree with that, whether or not people actually have freedom or not, is a different story or situation. But let's just say, in principle, in theory, this is how things are supposed to work, right? So there's a thing that happens, though, in society where we start thinking about, what happens or what do we do to punish people when they offend. Because there are people who do violate, the laws of society, and they set out and they go and create problems, and they're not really nice about it. And so, from a societal standpoint, right, we have to do something to exact like revenge, right, or get retribution. So, as we talked about, maybe before, right, sometimes we can punish, to pay back, right. We can have retribution, right, and maybe to deter that person from offending, or whatever the reason may be, right. In some cases, if we look back historically, right, we used to focus on the body. And what I mean by that is that, what could we do to you as a person, right? Where, we used to torture people or have them out on display. For people to mock at or to harm or damage in some sort of way. Or we just used to really, we could mutilate you. And that is still done in some cultures today. Or, kill you, right? So from a punishment perspective, right, we used to do all these different things to harm your body, right? And they used to be very public as well. So we used to have like these public spectacles. Of people being harmed or damaged, mutilated in some way, in a way to communicate that this is not going to happen, right? So the reason why we focus on like the body thing, right, or why we used to anyway, is that not everyone has money, so we can't, or property, so we can't just like take it away, or a lot of it, right? So it's not really an effective punishment because not everyone has it, right? So we have to focus on something that is, like universal, could also apply to a lot of people, right? So we focused on bodies for a while because, it was something everyone had, right? We could see it, we could manipulate it, we could change it in a significant kind of way, right? But later on, we kind of decide that maybe torturing, maybe maiming, killing, mutilating, people on public displays is maybe not civilized as much. So we focused on freedom, on limiting freedom. So we have this focus on freedom and agency, because these are all things that we are supposedly born with. Where we have like the right to pursue happiness, right? We have the right to, be free and out from under oppression and so on, right? So when we think about, how we punish people, then our punishment focuses on limiting or restricting freedom. And so what we'll end up discussing today is, how prisons and jails sort of go about this and why they sort of exist today. So with that, we'll continue in the next video.